So yesterday I talked about the dukkha. That this type of dukkha is the deeper aspect of the dukkha. When you see the arising and passing away, and we see the changes arising and passing away, then also we see the dukkha. They come in various ways, various aspects, various facets of dukkha. In the sense that the meditation becomes very challenging, difficult. It's not the pain that you go through, but it's the misery, disgust that one has to go through looking or observing into the mind and bodily processes. As we grow into this mindfulness, as we keep practicing, keep going, keep noting, the progress is only one way towards enlightenment. Then, with that, as you keep on noticing, the mind goes into so much more stronger that it comes to what we call the equanimity, the knowledge of equanimity of all formations. Equanimity here, they are absolutely very powerful. That all your pains, all your arising and passing away, all your memories of your past, whether sad or happy, does not affect you at all. Whether the sight is pleasant or unpleasant, smell whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, hearing whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, anything, it does not disturb the mind. The mind is fully alert during that time, fully alert, fully powerful, continuously powerful. There's no like up and down, dropping, and so on. So at the same time also, at this knowledge of equanimity, the aspect of anatta, the non-self, the non-self aspect become very clear, in the sense that you see that all the formation of the objects, the arising and passing away, is not you are in control. There's no I during that time. Another way of looking at it is all these phenomena, all these objects arising and passing away, they come on their own, and also they come with conditioning. Various forms of conditioning. You see the mind that conditions the body. You see the mind that conditions the mind. You see the mind arising with a intention. Thoughts arises. Mind affecting the mind. Sometimes you see one of the mind disappear, that another one also disappear. And some disappear, another one arises. They are conditioning each other. And you can see them in so many ways. So many ways. And all these ways that you can see them, the mind is not affected at all. Truly excellent type of mental states, meditation right now. Some people says that you can you can sit for long, and then it's not a problem. Or you can do walking, sitting like here, and you can do it for long, and also it's not a problem. The whole thing is that because of the mindfulness, the continuity is in a tip-top condition right now. So it gets the mind ready for enlightenment, but not yet. So the yogi has to keep on going, keep on noticing these various ways of knowledge, various ways of arising, passing away, again and again until one gets the maturity of that knowledge, and then in the process there are some processes that you go through, then comes up with the path and fruition consciousness. This path and fruition consciousness, they take Nibbana as an object. So the thing is that the function of a path consciousness or path consciousness here, its function is to completely eradicate certain defilements. As a first stage of enlightenment, then it eradicates the skeptical doubt and the wrong views. Wrong views can be divided into two. If you look from the way of fetters, is that the wrong view of believing that this silabata pramasa, all these external actions, for example, like praying, for example, wishing, for example, chanting, for example, like do all kinds of things except meditation, except mental development. Then they believe that all these type of things can give you enlightenment. For example, in Thailand, people like all kinds of like Buddha images and so on, or sometimes amulets and so on. They take these amulets, they kind of wear them and so on. They kind of believe that this can give them enlightenment. Y'all laugh lah, y'all. Y'all laugh. And these things are happening. It give you all this enlightenment. I'll give you the purity of the mind. So, when one gets this, we don't attach to all these wrong views that's connected to all these external things. There's no mental development then, but then they can get enlightenment, the Nibbana. So all these things gone. Here, if you want to see what is enlightenment, you just go to some meditation centers and you just walk around, and people talk all kinds of enlightenment, all kinds of things. Anything can be enlightenment to them, except meditation. Except meditation. So this is one kind of wrong view. Another type of wrong view is they call it the Sakaya Ditti. Sakaya means one, Ditti. Kaya means like a body. Ditti is a wrong view. We view that everything is one in the sense that there is a permanent soul, there's permanent God, there's permanent thing, there's permanent happiness, everything is on its state of permanent. We believe that these five aggregates, whether it's mind, feelings, happiness, everything must be permanent. There must be a soul there. There must be something there. For us to able to understand what is Nibbana or what is impermanence and all that thing without us penetrating into all this nature of this mind and matter, it's very difficult for us to understand, and especially the one with the non-self. I've seen scholars, Buddhist scholars, they can read and read and read, write theses and all that. Finally, they come to a conclusion: there must be a self. And yet the Buddha says there's non-self, and yet they come in and they hit all their hypotheses, all their whatever their conclusion. Finally, it must be a self. You see? And sometimes people believe, scholarly, they are scholar, they can write theses, they are professors and so on, and yet this thing can happen because it's deep. This non-self thing, it's very deep. Sometimes you ask me to explain in a few words or so, I scratch my head how to tell you. Until one sees it, this is non-self. But non-self, there are also multiple facets. You begin the vipassana, you begin actually with non-self, not anicca or dukkha. You begin with non-self. When we begin with the first knowledge of insight, that you can able to discriminate between what is mind and body. You can able to discern this is mind, this is body. Just by discerning that, you notice like the rising and falling is here. You notice that, hey, the thoughts are going on. Rising and falling is here. Knowing of the thoughts are one thing. Knowing the rising and falling is one thing. Rising, falling is another thing. So the knowing or the noting mind and the physical, the rising and falling. For example, if you notice these two, is actually an aspect of non-self. It's a one facet of non-self. So it begins with non-self. So it's good in that way, one kind. Even that you go to the second knowledge of insight, which is the knowledge of conditioning. Knowing the conditioning, knowing all this conditioning, you begin to see this like body and mind, they're all interacting with each other or conditioning each other. Also non-self. But while we are meditating, we don't have to think about them. This is non-self or anicca or dukkha. We don't have to think about them. The less you think about it, the faster your progress is. The more you analyze it through your own intelligence or your own logical reasoning, then you slow down the practice. Because they are going through a different sort of wisdom. But later on, next time you practice long enough, these things will keep on repeating itself. So while you're meditating, you don't have to think about them. But let's say you finish the meditation, you can able to analyze them a little bit by thinking. That is not a problem. But while you are actually doing the walking or sitting, try not to analyze them at all. Just observing only. Then the progress will go fast. So we come back. We come back to this magga and phala thing, path and friction. So the path consciousness, they eradicate certain defilements. And all it needs to do is just one time. It does its job already. Then it never arises anymore. The path consciousness, the word magga, it does not arise as anymore. It's just one time, because all it needs to do is just eradicate a defilement. That for that level of enlightenment. So it eradicates that defilement. So after that, it doesn't come. But what it comes is the other one is the friction consciousness. Friction consciousness is that consciousness is the one that also takes Nibbana as an object. So that's why for some, after you gain enlightenment, one can able to dwell in the Nibbana as an object for some time. They are, while we are in the jhana, this is called the absorption right now. It's all inside absorption. They are truly absorption, right now. Whereas when we go through all the insights, we don't call it absorption yet, not yet. But In a certain level, they are very similar to absorption. But when there's Nibbana, it's actually absorption. But they are not the same as the jhana absorption. The jhana absorption, after you come out from jhana, well, defilements are not eradicated. Although the mind is very purified, very pure right now, but it's not eradicated. Certain defilements. In other words, samsara is still going on. There's no stopping. But happier planes of existence. So the Nibbana thing is this. You see, Nibbana thing is such a vague concept for many people, and also for generations and generations. This Nibbana thing is a very vague concept. The Buddha sometimes have to use so many words just to give label to Nibbana, Sometimes the Buddha used the word the undying, no death, undying, unborn, unborn, deathless. The Buddha also used the word peace. Buddha also the word so many words. I think altogether maybe about 30 over words for just to describe Nibbana. Undying, peaceful, Santi, somewhat else. So many. But the thing is that now, with this understanding of Nibbana thing, it's such a difficult concept for us to understand. Therefore, over the millennia, since the Buddha until now, and the teachings of the Buddha is spread all over the place. As I said, also the distortion of the teachings are also being incorporated here and there. And one of the things is the Nibbana thing. It's the one that is Nibbana thing. Now, Nibbana here is not a place, it's not a land. There's no existence. If there's existence, means samsara. Sometimes there are certain teachings that the Buddha died, or the Buddha passed away, or the Arahant passed away. They are reborn in a pure land, certain land. That understanding itself, the moment you have rebirth, that means they are still in samsara. Whereas the teaching of the Buddha is not in that sense. The Buddha says that to understand Nibbana is to... Now you ask the question, let's say, where does the fire go after it's extinguished? If a child were to come and ask you, where does the fire go when it's extinguished? So where it go? It's the wrong question. Correct. It's the wrong question. Because there's nowhere it goes. It's just because it doesn't have condition to be there. Right? So too, this body and mind are all conditioning. And our rebirth again and again, the dukkha that comes and follows the rebirth again and again, is because of our greed, hatred, delusion. The greed, hatred, delusion, it fuels the samsara. Whether you do wholesome deeds or unwholesome deeds, you still fuel that samsara. That means you're still putting wood into the fire, So the fire still keep burning. So, when the development comes, or when the vipassana comes into its maturity, we eradicate the defilements. So the eradication of the defilements means that you remove its condition. So when you remove the condition, then the arising or rebirth will not able to take place anymore. It removes that condition so that it doesn't have that condition to go on further rebirth. So we got to see the body not as an I. We see this body and mind as conditioning only. And that conditioning, when you remove the greed, hatred, delusion, or here specifically the craving, you remove it, everything, the whole mind and body collapses. Figuratively collapse. That means it cannot able to take rebirth in the future. Anything with the idea of rebirth, anything that is rebirth, born somewhere, that means there's still conditioning is still there. So that's how the Buddha mentioned this type of about Nibbana. They give you the simple understanding of what Nibbana is. So the Buddha used the word cessation. Cessation of dukkha. Because every arising and passing away, everything is dukkha. Because when it stops, everything ceases, completely free from dukkha. Completely freed from dukkha doesn't mean you keep on smiling and happy and all that. It's completely free from everything. Difficult for us to understand this Nibbana thing, because all of us, as long as we have these 5 aggregates, we're going to view this Nibbana from the perspective of this body and mind. We do not know how to be free from it yet. So it's difficult. Even we talk about non-self, the understanding of non-self, still we are viewing from the perspective of self. Because the self is always with us. No matter how sometimes we look at it, non-self, so it's a very vague idea. So to understand this, to put it simple for you all, just to understand non-self, they are not within your control. They are all conditionality, non-self. So, now, Nibbana thing. So the Nibbana thing here is that, again, as I said, we are viewing it from this perspective of the I, perspective of these 5 aggregates, whereas Nibbana is totally away from all these 5 aggregates. The Buddha gave the story of the turtle and the fish. They are talking, the turtle and the fish talking. The fish asks, the turtle says to the fish, there is such a thing as land without water. The fish says, you must be mad. How could there be a place where land without water? Because the turtle can able to go up to a land, they can able to see the land without water. So but the fish cannot. So for all of us to understand what is Nibbana, we are just like a fish in the water. We still do not know, because everything we see is from the perspective of water. So while we understand this Nibbana, we still understand it from the perspective of 5 aggregates. So that's why it's difficult to understand. So it's no matter how you talk about it, it's the idea is still, over time, it still get distorted until you see it for yourself. So this is on the theory part. On the practical part, on the practice part, now, while we are doing this vipassana thing, arising, passing away, arising, passing away, and then things are changing and so on. There will be many times during in your practice, the whole object stops. But it's not Nibbana. Too bad. Doesn't mean that every time you meditate, oh, something stopped. Oh, you feel Nibbana. No, not yet. There are people, because we use the word cessation. We use the word like stopping. We use the word like, arising and passing away, then things stop. Yes, yes. I mean, we use those words because that has to describe what Nibbana is. But there are also a lot of stops, while we are in the practice, which is not Nibbana, no. So how are you going to differentiate this stop and that stop is Nibbana? Then you're not very sure which one is the one, because there are so many stops there. Things are ceasing, things are stopping. Yeah. Now, in the practice, the convention, not to say conventional, I wouldn't say conventional, while they are still not enlightened type of cessation, it's still not enlightened yet, but along the way, there are many objects that you notice it stops. You notice the rising and falling, then it stops. Or you notice the arising and passing away. Or you notice the pain, suddenly it stops completely, then it starts again, So you notice that there is a gap, there's a microsecond gap there. Completely that things disappear. So you don't go and interpret that this is Nibbana, no. There will be times as the yogi practice through, as you grow higher in the development, there will be a lot of gaps. You're mindful, you're totally mindful on the objects and you're noticing, but there are many gaps like in between now. Gaps means that you'd see nothing there. But after that, just a second or two, then all the arising keep coming back, or all the changes keep coming back. Then it stops again. Then the arising, and then it stops again. And you see, some yogis sees it many times, countless times. So a lot of times these are not enlightenment yet. What happened for one of the thing is that the mind, the consciousness, they can be absolutely subtle. There are more gross consciousness, there are more subtle consciousness. Sometimes when we come to a certain level, you see the mind, you take note of the mind, you can see the mind changes. But there are also another aspect of the mind which is subtle than what is that state of mind. Say for example, you notice this thinking. All these thoughts, this thinking and the process of the thinking, this is called to me, I just put it as a gross type of mind. But to you all, it's already so subtle already. It's a kind of gross type of mind. But there's another underlying consciousness, which I don't use the word subconscious. Some people use the word subconscious, but sometimes they use the word bhavanga in Pali. But it is a consciousness also, but it's more subtle than the active consciousness. And that consciousness also arising and passing away. It shares the quality of arising and passing away, but it's more passive. So before your mind able to notice this thing, the passive ones, because you can able to notice the active one, but suddenly the mind turns into the passive one, the whole mind thinks that it stopped. There's nothing there. Then after that, the active one comes back again. So here, the passive type of mind, there's also arising and passing away, but it's difficult to see. It's difficult to see. So that's why sometimes yogis who practice further, they thought that anything that is stopped, it's Nibbana, which is not yet. So how do we know? How do we know that this is Nibbana? Well, some teachers mention some yogis meditate and then they don't realize they already passed Nibbana. Yeah, they already passed Nibbana and they just keep on meditating. After all, whether you know it or don't know it, the process of eradication has taken place, isn't it? It doesn't matter. But sooner or later, they will know. Yeah? Sooner or later, they will know. So, anyway, when it comes to this Nibbana thing, yeah, if it's the actual one, it comes with a very powerful concentration, very strong concentration, very absorption type of concentration, in like that, Then the yogi find that there's a kind of a jump in concentration. Yeah, it's a very clear jump in concentration. So if you cannot able to differentiate those things, doesn't matter. But there's another way of how we can able to notice them. Because after Nibbana, after you practice Nibbana, after you realize the Nibbana thing, you, as I said, you cannot stay there for too long. You have to come back. You have to come back to the body again. After all, you are not dead yet. Still, the body is still here. So you come back and then you notice the mental and bodily process. This time, when it begins by noting this mental and bodily process, it all starts with the knowledge of arising and passing away. Everything that you see is just arising and passing away. Everything slows down. Everything slows down. The arising and passing away slows down compared to just before enlightenment. If you cannot understand what I'm talking, it's perfectly okay, so far until now, What I'm trying to say is that even after Nibbana thing, you have to come back and still body, mind. There's no suddenly meditate and then Nibbana that don't do anything anymore. No. You come back and you still keep going. Yeah. Sometimes people say that after Nibbana, holiday already. What else to do? There's no such thing. Even for the Buddha, even for the Arahants, it says those who are Arahants, after they meditate, what did they do? The four foundation of mindfulness again. Yeah, the four foundation of mindfulness. There's no such thing as like suddenly you decide, yes, you can go into Nibbana and absorb there if you want to, but back again to four foundation of mindfulness. It's just like what we are doing, noticing the mind, the bodily process. So, in other words, I'm just trying to tell you, if you cannot understand that, if after enlightenment also, let's come back to this four foundation of mindfulness, this object of meditation. And with that, and with many, there are also ways, then you begin to go into a higher enlightenment. Yeah? So, in other words, keep on practicing. The word is that only. It's just keep on practicing. You know the way of how to practice. You know how to note. You know how to walk, how to pay attention. All you need to do is keep repeating that process again and again and again and again and again. You cannot finish this life, then continue next life. You cannot finish this retreat, continue next retreat. Yeah. Simple. So that is how the practice to be done. Yeah? But this practice, don't worry that whether you can attain this in this life or not. You make an aspiration, hopefully that you can able to do it within one lifetime. Don't think that, oh, so old already, you cannot. If you already think like that, of course, you're already white flag up already, Surrender already. So, people still, if you still have that able to meditate, you can still able to go through. If you understand the teaching of the Buddha and you keep things simple and keep your objective clear. You keep that objective clear, don't get too distracted by the world. You keep on that one. You don't have to be a nun. You don't have to be a monk. All you need to do is have time. You must have time. Time for you to practice. Then you keep that goal in mind. All you need to do is just keep going one step after another, one sitting after another, one walking after another, noticing again and again, moment to moment, noting, mindful. That's about it on here. All the 2 weeks that we are talking over here, talk here, talk there, talk round, I talk, everything goes around. It's the same thing, just to tell you, just to note. No matter how I talk, how I turn and twist and go here and there, finally it's a come back. Hey, pay attention to your object. Pay attention. Don't let your mind run. Pay attention. Make the effort there. Then progress will come eventually. Some of us go slightly faster. Some of us slightly slower. Some people take more time to develop the basic. Some people have the basic from his past retreats and then they can able to progress further. So as long as you keep doing, in a retreats to come, you keep doing what you are doing now, the progress will come. But if you find that this retreat too tough, this retreat so much pain, this retreat wake up 4 o'clock, this retreat go so tired, so everything. So of course some people just can't take it. Usually when you can't take it, normally you will look for something more simple, more easy, shortcut. Shortcut, they want that easy one. Meditate a little bit, you can go and sleep. They come anytime they want to meditate, come anytime they want to come and walk. As they walk for a short while, 10-15 minutes, they want to go and sit. No discipline. No discipline, very hard for you to progress. So the development, don't think of it as far away. It's already inside this mind and bodily process already. We are carrying it all the time, but it's just not clear for us. It's just not clear. It's already there. Even the Nibbana is already there. So, other words, all we need to do is make the effort. One day after another day, after another day, after another day, after another day. Some people spend years, just like what you are doing. Years, you're 2 weeks only, half dead already. Start thinking, going back, what to do, planning already. People spend years for this retreat. Maybe one if if times are better, that for example, like you go to Myanmar, you go to this type of meditation center there. People spend few years there. Every day walk, sit. I've seen people, they sit on the floor until they got markings on the this one. Because some people really they don't sit on the cushion. They totally sit on the parquet floor itself. They meditate over time because of sweat everything. Then they got mark of the buttock there. Yeah. That's how much they meditate. So this one, only when you go to places you see people are really serious in the practice. But sometimes, too bad is that sometimes there are people who have a lot of faith, a lot of time, and they spend it. And yet, progress are so slow. Progress is nowhere there. I've been to Burma, I've been with them, I was a yogi, but I know my practice. But I'm not a teacher that time. I mean, the meditation, I'm just yogi. But sometimes I know what they are going through. Sometimes they tell me already after you stay a year, with them. Sometimes they tell you a little bit here and there. I already know. After some time, they are not going much of anywhere. Why? Because when you come into the hall, they come in as they like. They come in as they like. Yeah. And then because they stay there for so long, they start, instead of supposed to meditate, they start to do gardening around their dormitory, do the plant some flowers do all kinds of things except meditation. Because they got so much time there. Because the progress is not there. They don't get bored, Tell them the walking meditation, all they need to do is to pay attention to it carefully. But a lot of people don't do that. A lot, even in this meditation. Yeah. At one time, I'm a yogi, I'm yogi, but I know my practice. I know my way of noting. Then some yogis went there, some Mahayana nun from Taiwan. Then they were practicing. After a month, also cannot go anywhere. So they told me about their problem. I mean, they got interviewed here and there, but they told me about their problem. The moment I hear their problem, I know what's the remedy already. Even that was 20 years ago. I say, you do your walking meditation properly. Just pay attention to the step. You do it properly. I just tell them, forget about first phase, second. We just go to the third phase. Just shortcut, go there. Just keep noting, Just keep noting. And you do it for at least like 45 minutes, 1 hour. You just keep noting. Then after that, I don't want to teach them already. I go for my own practice. After that, they're done for a few days. They come back. Wow, their whole meditation change. Then anything only they come and look for me. Not the teacher. Then they keep on disturbing my meditation. Because I open out my mouth. Because I felt compassionate for them, Not supposed to open my mouth, but I open my mouth. But anyway, the thing is that if you just keep doing and you are disciplined in your practice, the progress will come. And here, many of you can able to pick up on the walking sensation, rising and falling sensation of sitting, touching, pain, pulling, changing, thinking, thoughts, sleepiness, different states of mind coming in, then well and good. Make sure you all remember what to do. You all remember what to do, because in the next retreat, it's going to repeat the same thing all over again. And that is where your skills comes in. All your skills that comes in, it will really help you to really settle down very fast. You know what to do. You continue from where you left off from this retreat. You continue from the next retreat. The progress go there. It doesn't go back to square one again. Vipassana doesn't go back to square one. As long as the mindfulness comes into its optimum level, it continues from where you left off from yesterday or from the last retreat. Yeah. But if you don't do anything in the last retreat, then of course there's nothing, I know. Yeah. So Vipassana doesn't go back to square one. Say for example you develop some Vipassana knowledge from previous retreat, then this retreat and you come in, you build up for first 3 or 4 days. You clear your sleepiness, you clear your drowsiness. You're able to the mind is settled with the routine of the practice. Then once it's settled, clarity is there. Immediately it continues where you left off from the past retreat. So it can be very helpful. But of course, make sure that your one retreat to another retreat, don't too long a gap. Like some of us go through a pandemic, I come back, like, but they forgot already. Yeah, totally rusty. Yeah. So, other words, not too long a gap. Yeah, not too long a gap. Maybe per year, do it like at least once, or if you have the time, do it twice. Yeah, 2 weeks is good. Yeah, if you want to go longer, well then good. If you have the time, if you have the time, if you can able to delegate your duties to your husband, to your wife, to your children, that you can able to have that time. And this lifestyle changes, it's not going to affect you, because that your lifestyle, if you're going to go in this way, you be prepared to give up on a lot of things. Other words, the friends and people or relatives that you used to see here, when you want to go there, you may not able to see them for some time. Yeah, you may not able to see them for some time. So you must able to your partner or your people, perhaps they can understand what you are doing. The first thing they may think that you're going to become a nun, or a monk. Yeah. You got to assure them. I mean, to give them an idea what you are doing. It's just meditation. It's just for the progress. But if those people with a Buddhist family, perhaps they can understand you better. But you have to give up a lot of number of things. Your lifestyle. Yeah? You got to simplify your lifestyle in the sense that even if you are working, if you are still working, you have to plan that you want to go for a retreat. Your leave also have to be allocated for a retreat. That means, in other words, you have to plan ahead first. Yeah? You have to plan ahead what you want to do with that leave. Are you going to take that leave for holiday? Then finish. So here, you've got to really change your lifestyle. You've got to change your lifestyle. And things that you want to do also, not just only the people, things that you like to do, also you have to give up. Perhaps you like to go for your, what? What do you like to do? What do you all love to do? Maybe some people love to dancing class, Who knows, Or they love to do certain things. Then you have to give up on that. You have to sacrifice your time away from that. Then you have to come back. You have to give up on those things in order to plan yourself just for that retreat. If not, sometimes you settle, you find that it's so difficult for us to give up on those things. So you must prepare for a lifestyle change. A lot of it to do with your people around you or the things that you like to do. Yeah. Also, people will see that you will change. Yeah, you keep on doing these things, people will see that you are changing. Yeah, you're not so so crazy, You're more settled down. You're more cool, You're more calm, People can see that they'll change over time. Yeah. Well, they have to accept that, You don't try to be like them just because that was your past way of doing things. Maybe you change. But then also, which is good also, another thing is that you must find the right people who has the same desire to meditate. Yeah? If you don't have the people who have the same desire to meditate, sooner or later you will not meditate. You don't have that. You don't have that. You see, for example, here we meditate together. We come here. We come to meditate together, walk together, eat together, uh, meditate together, sit together, and this give you that, you just quiet, you do not know them, but they give you the the encouragement, the enthusiasm, the motivation for you to keep going. If sometimes you find that so tired, you look at beside you, still meditating, you okay, just it just like quietly you just bring up yourself, yeah. Or sometimes you see your roommate, yeah, if you see in the dormitory, they all wake up already, I'm still here, cannot. You pull yourself out from it, yeah. So it's good. So, but it's the same thing also when we finish our retreat now, we make sure also we have a group of people who have a similar interest in the Vipassana practice. The people or the devotees or the Buddhist devotees, they are the strongest people who motivates you. Whether you know it uh, clearly or indirectly, whether directly or indirectly, whether you know it or you don't really know it, but they are the one that influence you. Yeah. The Buddha used the word kalyana mitta, yeah? Spiritual friendship. Yeah. A spiritual friendship here means that you, let's say, you mix with people who likes to do charity work, then you will become also very generous. You mix with the people who likes to do chanting, then sooner or later you also love chanting. This is wholesome things, not to say unwholesome things. Huh? On the unwholesome things, if you mix with the people who like to go like holiday, go here and there everywhere, you're also going to be like them. If you mix with a bunch of thieves, you're also going to be like them. But because of our wisdom, we choose something wholesome, which is good. Yeah? But within these wholesome activities that we have, if you want to carry on with this Vipassana practice, you must keep in contact for those people who has the interest in this Vipassana practice. If you don't, sooner or later you totally forget about this practice. You don't even know when is the teacher coming. You don't even know where are the places that you can go for retreats. You don't even know. Some of you come to this retreat just by chance, so happen that you get the information only, but you don't know people. Yeah. So these chances doesn't come so often, So make sure that you have a group of people, or you go and look for this type of people, where to get this type of information. Here we are staying in Texas. Is huge place, big area. So sometimes it's difficult for people to come together and meet. Of course, now you have all these Zoom classes, Zoom meditation, Zoom sutta, Zoom this, Zoom that, Zoom everything. Previously, also I have classes also. For 1.5 years, I think. I have a lot of this sutta class, not so much on meditation. Yeah, it's connected to meditation, but more towards conceptual understanding and so on. Yeah. Now, if you're able to find these friends over time, it will help you to stay together and to keep your interests alive. Sometimes they will ask you, "Hey, want to go for a retreat?" And kind of like it stirs your interest, then kind of like you follow them. So it will be good. The friendship will always be the best. So we can talk about the practice again and again. Here, if you were to practice alone here, some places of meditation, like in the forest, for example, they go to the forest and meditate. You think that, wow, go to the forest and meditate is excellent. Not really necessary. If you don't have the capability or the abilities of to meditate and so on, you're not going to progress because you're going to go alone. Yeah, you're going to go alone. First of all, you're already afraid of ghosts already. Afraid of what is not there or what is there, all mind created out. Of course, there are certain things. The Buddha says, even you go to the forest and so on, make sure you must have the ability. Your mind is ready for those things. If you're not ready for those things, it's better to stay in a place, in a temple where it is conducive for meditation. The whole purpose we have a place is not because whether it's a forest or whether it's a town or it's a city. What is important is away from other people who are not meditating. Correct or not? If let's say we are doing this meditation here, then here in ABC they have so many other activities are going on. They are chanting la, praying la, ding ding dong 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 ding ding la. How are you going to meditate? You're not going to be able to meditate because your mind will be drawn to those things. So you got to be away from everything. The Buddha asks us, in the sutta, the Buddha says that go to the forest, go to the empty hut, because of you're away from people. And when you're away from people, is one thing is good, but if you happen to be with the people around you, make sure they are doing exactly the same thing as you. Then it'll be good. Yeah. And then you'll be very encouraging for your practice. Yeah. So make sure that next time when you come in, you remember what to do before you sign up for a retreat. Go back to go through all your stuff a little bit now. What to walk, how to do, how to meditate, how to this and how to do that. Over time, you do this retreat again and again. You build a very good habit. You know the time to walk, you walk. Time to sit, you sit. Time to wake up, you wake up. Time to sleep, you sleep. Time to take shower, you know when to take shower. And then that time you build up into such a good habit. Then retreat after retreat, you see that the progress will keep going and going and going. Not to say completely very fast, but kind of up and down, but it's still going better than before. So make sure you all keep going. Then if you keep on doing in this way, keep noting and noting, then Nibbana is not too far away. Then Nibbana is not too far away. It's just a matter of time only. So whatever that we are talking about, over here, that you begin to able to understand all these things, then you find that it's possible. It's not impossible. Now, for tomorrow, we're going to have a Q&A session. How we're going to do this Q&A session is that if you have any questions, then you write down in a piece of paper. I think all of you have some paper here and there. If not, we're going to bring some paper and put here. Then when you have your questions, there's still a number of you. Maybe you can write 2 or 3 questions. When you write it, when you have the questions, it's good that it's kind of related to your practice or on the Dhamma thing, Don't ask me about if your husband got problem or you got problem with your husband, you ask me how to go and solve this thing. This is not my area, because there are people who do once in a while would have that, or they ask me, how does the ghost look like? What for, But questions are relevant to the practice or to the Dhamma or the Dhamma related to the practice. You ask me some of this question. Per person, maybe if you have, you write down. If you don't have, you don't have to write down. If you have 1 question, fine. 2 questions, okay, but not more than 3. Not more than 3. The number of us, then perhaps you may not able to answer everything. So if you have the questions, you put it on my table. I'm going to bring a box over here. Then by say 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, I'll come and pick up the questions. Then I'll read through your questions. Then by at night, then I'll try to answer them. Write nicely, write eligibly. Don't write like a doctor. Scribble through. There are people who like that. I have to take a photo as to send to other people. Hey, what are they writing? Then they have to comment. So make sure you all write eligibly that I can read. Okay, so we stop here for tonight. Then we'll see you tomorrow. Yeah. Subconsciousness. Not really sub. It's just a passive. Passive consciousness. Passive consciousness. Yes. Active, passive like that. Path and friction. Here. Here. Path and friction consciousness. A path and friction only here. Underneath the idang mesila. Path and friction. That's what you have been chanting all along. You see? Path and friction. But they didn't use the word consciousness, but in the actual usage is a consciousness. They are actually consciousness. So you make the aspiration. You make aspiration, then to realize Nibbana is also correct. You make aspiration to attain path and fruition, also correct. They are just different aspects of each other. Okay. As I said, you all cannot able to understand too much. Doesn't matter. It just give you an idea. You give an idea so that at least next time when y'all go out, y'all don't have all kinds of wrong idea, mix everything inside, and then it gets very confusing. Yeah. Okay, we'll stop here. Then we'll share Marisa. Come.